Reddit Ask Me Anything. My life is like 50 first dates. Except it's not funny. It's really scary. Ask me anything. I suffered a brain injury in 2014 and it's left me with sensitivity to noise, migraines, traumatic epileptic seizures and anterograde amnesia. So every day when I wake up, I think it's still October 2014. Did you watch 50 First Dates before or after whatever happened? I saw about 10-15 minutes of it years ago, not long after it first came out, but I'm not a huge fan of Adam Sandler or Drew Barrymore, so I gave up watching it because I thought it was rubbish. I know the general premise of it though, and that it's apparently a comedy. I seriously doubt I've watched it since the brain injury, because I'm still not a fan of either actor. My memories from before the accident are still intact, so I still know my likes and dislikes XX. Are you in a relationship? If so, how's it affected? I am. I met my partner in October 2016. It's scary waking up next to him, not knowing who he is or where I am or I'm staying at his, and apparently we have pictures of us together around his room so that I can see I have some connection to him, and he's not just a random stranger. It's even more disconcerting, because I expect to wake up next to my ex in our old house, so waking up next to a man I don't recognize, don't know, is difficult. We seem to be doing pretty well. It's been about 2.5 years. He's patient with me, will explain things repeatedly, and makes sure I write stuff down in my diary that's important XX. Do you feel like it's impossible to ever really fall in love with your partner, since you'll only ever really know him for one day at a time? I don't know. We say we love each other, and when I was texting him earlier I was feeling happy about it, so I guess that's something. But it's hard because I don't really know him. All I have to go on is what I've got in my diaries, and he seems like a brilliant partner, and I must see something in him because otherwise I would have finished it. But in fairness, I've never really done feelings anyway. I've always been a bit disconnected from everyone, so it's not something new that I'm having to deal with XX. Hey, forever honeymoon phase. Yep XX. Or he tears out the page where they break up. I feel bad even saying that as a joke, but there is a concern of manipulation. There is, but really it comes down to trust. I have to trust that he wouldn't do that, just like I trust that my ex didn't remove any pages. Unfortunately there's no failsafe that I can use to guarantee that nothing will happen to my diaries, so trust is all I have XX. Check for ripped out pages, and maybe number the pages and initial next to the number, something like that. You ever think about making video diaries to yourself? It would be easy to rip a page out and not even notice, because my diaries are all spiral bound. To be honest, I'd rather just go on trust, purely because while I'm like this, if I can't trust my loved ones, then I can't trust anything, and if that happened I would probably shut myself away and stop all interactions. No, because I don't often watch DVDs, whereas I read a lot. Plus because my diaries are underneath my glasses, they're the first thing I see in the morning, whereas there's no guarantee I'd watch a DVD or video, even if I wrote myself a note to do so. Plus, with mornings like this morning, you could carry on reading while my son was eating his breakfast and getting ready for school. I wouldn't be able to carry on watching videos or DVDs while he's getting ready XX. You did the same Ask Me Anything yesterday. Wouldn't surprise me LOLXX. What are you going to do when your diaries get so thick that you can't possibly read it all every day? It took me just over 4 hours to read them fully today. Honestly, I'm just hoping that my brain fixes itself before it gets to that point. My biggest fear is that I'll wake up tomorrow, and it's actually 10 years later, and my son has changed so much that I don't recognize him. The thought of that happening, and the amnesia lasting that long, really scares me XX. You have my utmost empathy. I can't imagine being in your situation, given all of your medical issues. What is your long-term outlook on life? How long of a life are you expected to have? Have you considered something like assisted suicide? My life expectancy is normal, but a lot of my physical problems are degenerative, so I'm only going to get worse as time goes on. Euthanasia is something I've been strongly in favor of for years. If animals are in pain and suffering, We put them out if they're misery. So why is it considered okay to make people carry on when they are in pain and want to end their life? I believe everyone should be able to choose for themselves if they want to die with dignity and not have to travel to another country and be apart from their family and friends when the time comes, if that's what they want. Obviously some people do want to be by themselves. If I wasn't such a coward, I would have killed myself a long time ago. But I'm too chicken to do it XX. I'm not saying you should kill yourself. In fact, I hope you don't. There may still be hope, but you're absolutely right. Nobody should be forced to suffer. Thanks for doing this small Amma. It's one of the most interesting ones I've seen in this sub. I wish you well and hope you're able to recover at least somewhat. This is one of the most interesting Ask Me Anythings I've read here. I'm sorry this happened to you, but you seem like quite a strong and resourceful person. Also, I'll second the other person who mentioned Memento. The main character deals with his issue by being extremely organized. Speaking of organization, do you ever edit your diary? Like make a 1 or 2 page summary that shows the most important events from the past 5 years plus your current situation. Your current partner is ? Do you use some list of tasks so you can remind your future self to do something you can't do immediately? What's the tone of your diary? Very matter of fact, today I had another visit to the doctor. Or do you talk to your future self more empathetically? Don't be scared. You've been doing this for several years. Just read this and you'll be ready for the day. Yep, I have a few pages that are dedicated to specific things rather than general stuff. For example, I have a section on my fella, his full name, date of birth, address, phone number, likes dislikes, how and when we met, his family, some stuff from his childhood, jobs he's done, etc. Another section is about stuff to do with my son, his teacher, where his classroom is, who his friends are, what he's good at, what things he's into, toys, movies etc. Mum has a section because she had a knee replacement a couple of weeks ago, and that's got things in like how she's doing each day, what exercises she's meant to be doing and how often, when she has any follow-up appointments and what, if any, questions we need to ask. I'm her main carer because I live with her. Any sections I have get updated with whatever new information is relevant, and old stuff is crossed out. There's a calendar in the kitchen that has any future appointments on it. It also has if I need to make appointments, if anything is going on at the school, when the litter tray was last changed, when my son is at his dad's, stuff like that. It's a bit of both. 90% matter of fact and straightforward, but there are entries about how I'm terrified that this is my life. I'm going to be stuck like this forever. Everyone would be better off without me. Real self-pitying shit like that, but there's not much of it. And it's gotten rarer in the last couple of years because I made a decision to not write down the bad days unless it's a really bad day, so that I don't feel quite as shit when I'm reading through it XX. I made a decision to not write down the bad days unless it's a really bad day, so that I don't feel quite as shit when I'm reading through it. Did you make that decision and then wrote it down in the diary? Or can you remember that sort of thing? Do you think you would downplay some negative stuff, overstate some positive stuff to give yourself a nicer read in the future? I wish LOL. No, it's written in my diary. Possibly. I'm sure I've had some really bad days and not written down about them, so I don't have to read that stuff. Don't think I overplay the good stuff. I've always been quite straight, logical and matter of fact. And it doesn't really seem logical to make something sound better than it was. Because if I speak to someone about it and it turns out it isn't as great as I wrote, then I'm going to wonder how much else I wrote that I can't trust. I think factual is better and easier XX. How will you remember this post tomorrow? I won't remember it, but I'll know I posted it, because I'll probably look through my post history, same as I did today, because it looks like I've only been on Reddit for a few months XX. What is a day in your life like? Are you a student? Do you have hobbies? No, not a student. I'm a 32-year-old mum. Did used to be a pub manager but lost my job when I had the brain injury, and haven't been able to get a new job since. I'll use today as an example. Woke up at 5 AM when my alarm went off. Freaked out when I saw I was at my mum's house, not at home. Put my glasses on. SW, they were on top of some notebook saying read me. Started reading. Found out why I'm at mum's, been living here for nearly 3 years now. Catch up on what's been happening for the last nearly 5 years. Find the unlock code for my new phone. Look through Facebook at some of the pictures and videos. Have to finish reading and looking through Facebook later. Need to sort my son out for school. He's now 8. He turned 4 2 weeks before the head injury. Get him breakfast. He eats and gets himself dressed. I take him to school. Luckily I know where the school is from before my brain injury. No idea where his classroom is, but he says he always goes in through reception because I can't walk all the way around to his classroom. I have physical disabilities that I've had for years, not connected to the brain injury, but have gotten worse since then. Say goodbye and I'll see him on Sunday because he's at his dad's this weekend. Go home. Nap on the sofa for an hour because I'm still exhausted. Must have slept funny because I've woken up and can't move my neck or spine without a lightning bolt of pain starting at the base of my spine going all the way down to my lower back. Take fentanyl nasal spray. Put another patch on. Mum passed me everything. Spend some more time reading the rest of my diaries and looking through Facebook and the other apps on my phone, which is also new to me. I had an old style Nokia that could only do texting and calling. Now I have a smartphone. I don't like it. Currently still stuck on sofa. Wondering if I'm going to have to sleep on it tonight. The only hobby I had before that I've had to stop is MMA and kickboxing. The other hobbies I can still do, because it's just reading and Sudoku XX. Do you ever have days where you wake up and don't just accept it? It looks like I've had a few, but there hasn't been any notes to that effect in my diaries for a couple of years now. So I'm not sure whether I've just stopped writing it down if I don't accept it, or if something in my brain is working really hard to tell me subconsciously that it is real. And why would I lie to myself about something as shit as this situation? That's all I can think of anyway XX. I am unsure if this is a silly question, but here goes. Have there been any particular memories that somehow overcome the condition? If so, how do you process those memories when you have many missing pieces of the puzzle? It looks like I've had a handful of times where I've remembered something from the previous day or week, but the memory hasn't stuck around. So when I've slept again, it's gone again and I don't remember remembering it. Hope that makes sense. Can't think of how else to word it. XX. Do you have opinions on politics in your country? What do you think about Donald Trump being the president of the USA? I think all politicians are as bad as each other, but I've always thought that. Other than that, I'm not really interested in politics. Never have been. Yeah, I saw that on a site earlier. Did think I was on a satire site, then realized it was true. I do think it's pretty insane, because he is an absolute cockyoumble. Thick as shit. And I'm pretty sure he's mentally retarded. Not sure how the hell he managed to get elected, or why he was even considered a serious option in the first place XX. Absolute cockyoumble. r/rare insults. How did you get the brain injury? Are there any hidden positives that come with your brain resetting? I guess OD positive is if I'm having a shit day. As long as I don't bother writing it down, then I don't remember it the next day lol. Other than that, no, it's all negatives. No one's really sure because I was on my own. But the general guess is that I was waiting for my ex-fiancé to pick me up from hospital. I'd gone up to get my knee sorted after dislocating my kneecap earlier in the night and I put it back in wrong. I was waiting out the front of the A&E, having a ciggy, and I passed out and hit my head on a metal pole XX. What is your biggest fear surrounding this? What is something that you hate learning every day, other than the injury? That I wake up tomorrow and it's actually been 10 years and my son has changed that much that I don't recognize him. That I've missed out on everything, especially things that I've done with my son. I can read about what I've done and see pictures on Facebook, but without the memories attached it doesn't feel real XX. Have you tried staying up overnight instead of sleeping? No. Because if I did that then I wouldn't be in any fit state to look after my son the next day XX. I think it could be an interesting experiment if you had someone to stay with you. Maybe offer some insight on working around it. Next week when my son is at his dad's, I'm going to try what someone else suggested, which is set my alarm for every 3 hours. Wake up, stay awake for a little bit, then back to sleep, and repeat all throughout the following day. to see how long I can hang on to memories for. It would probably be the same as if I stay awake all night. But even if I manage to retain memories for say 2 days, it's not something I can do when my son is at home, because I can't keep napping for 3 hours, because I need to look after him. Will still be an interesting experiment though XX. I don't even know if it's possible for you to answer this, but here goes anyway. Do you reset 100% back to the person you were in 2014, or do you think or feel that your subconscious can somehow store information that influences what you do and feel? Like for example, let's say you meet someone and you end up feeling some strong emotion for them, either really hating them because you fought with them or something, or really liking them. When you reset, will it be like if you've never met them, or does your subconscious give you a bad feeling or impression of them? I think I'm still the same as I was in 2014 personality wise, so I don't think I've really changed that much, if at all. I'm still the same sarcastic, foul-mouthed delight that I was before. I've met people and I don't have a clue who they are. It's frightening when I have people talking to me that clearly know me but I don't know them, because I don't know what our previous interactions have been. Did we get on? Or did I hate them? Did I say something that I shouldn't have, or was it a bland conversation? I can't write everything that happens every single minute of the day in my diary, so I imagine a lot if it would be guesswork and going along with whatever they're saying, which makes me vulnerable. But I only go out if I'm with someone I know, so at least I have someone with me that I can trust to have my best interests in mind XX. How did you know about Reddit? If I just discovered a smartphone for the first time, I doubt I would figure out Reddit immediately and locate a subreddit to post. I have the app on my phone, so I opened it to see what it was about. I had heard of it before my brain injury, but never used it. I've joined a few more groups today because I've seen links to them in groups I'm already in. This group was suggested to my bio mod from the Ask Me Nothing group, so that's how I found this one XX. Would your brain not retain physiological things as well? Say if you tried heroin every day for a month, would you become addicted, or would it be like the first time each day you took the drug? No idea. It's an interesting hypothesis, although obviously I'm not going to start shooting up smack just to test it LOLXX. So if you have a text conversation, you can always keep reading back and keep a steady discourse going, even over a course of days. Shall we keep this Ask Me Anything alive and then we can be a collective diary? D. That would actually be pretty cool. Yeah, I have text message conversations on my phone going back to when I first got it. I have message conversations on Facebook going back years, even to before the accident. And there's a couple of sites that I'm on where I've started talking to new people and have the conversations going all the way back to when we first started talking XX. Did you split up with your ex before or after the injury? After. Mutual breakup. We're still good friends now XX. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.